I'm very confident that everybody watching this video, if you listen to my advice, you will start taking more profitable trades and you will stop taking losing setups that should have just been completely avoided. Now, I can't tell you how many times that even still to this day, I take setups and before I enter the trade, I'm like, man, this thing looks so good. I'm very confident on it. I know I'm gonna make money on this. I know it's gonna profit on me. And then I take the trade, I lose on that setup, and I go back and review that trade and analyze it, and I'm like, Carmine, why did you ever take that trade? That was such a dumb decision, and that was such a stupid trade that you should have just avoided. Now, when I implement what I'm gonna explain to you all in this video, I start taking better setups, and I stop taking trades that could have been completely avoided. Now, pulling up what I mentioned here in the Discord, this is the main concept to this video, is I have this, I guess, trading mantra that if there's no label to the trade, then I should not be taking the trade. Now, what I mean by label is just simply being able to identify and describe the trade that I am going to be taking before I actually take the trade. Because like I mentioned earlier, when I enter a trade and I'm like, man, this thing looks good, I know I'm gonna make profits on it, it's gonna work out in my favor, and I think it's gonna go up or down, I'm simply acting based on emotions on number one, me trying to make money, and number two, me just trying to be correct and make an assumption in the market. But when we could dig it deeper and be able to label the trade setup and label the pattern that we're seeing, this is just naturally gonna force us to be taking trades that we know have a positive expectancy or have a higher probability or a better odd of working out and us making profits. In the Discord, what I said here was a really big shift in how I view the market is by viewing trades as patterns. What I mean is the setups that I trade with, there's around 6 or 7, and in the accelerator, in the Invest Trade Academy, like there's specific in-depth videos on it. Even on my YouTube, there's videos on, you know, the confirmations, the plans. Each have similar patterns. And just off the top of my head, like there's a pattern that I look for called rebid or reoffer. There's a pattern that I look for called trap buyers, trap sellers. There's a pattern that I look for such as absorption. Another pattern is a large buyer or large seller defending price, and that probably is one of my favorite setups. And when I see these similar patterns, I know when they appear in the market, and almost like a light bulb goes off in my head and saying, hey, this is developing. I'm watching this form in real time. I've seen this work out for me maybe yesterday, last week, last month. And I know that this setup worked last week, last month, and it has a higher probability or higher odd of working out. So it's just a common pattern with similar characteristics that whenever that setup is present or valid, I know I should be acting upon it. So when I sit down and I'm watching my charts on a daily basis, I'm simply waiting for this opportunity by trying to locate these patterns that I could label in some sort of confirmation or in some sort of similar characteristics. So my job is to locate opportunity. Like I don't really say that I'm gonna be forcing a setup. It's because when I sit down in my chair and I'm watching the market develop in real time, I'm not really trading the market. I'm trying to locate my opportunities, because if I find my opportunity and act upon that opportunity and manage my risk accordingly, this is when I could say that I'm trading the market, because I'm putting myself in the position to take a setup that has a higher odd of working out in my favor. So I'm simply waiting for this opportunity by trying to locate the setups. When I see a similar pattern, one which I know that works, I know it's a valid setup to take and a trade that should be put on. When I sit here and observe and want to trade just because the market's moving up or down, like I mentioned to you all earlier, there's no pattern there. It's, hey, Carmine, I think the market's going to go up. Hey, Carmine, I think we're going to sell off here because maybe Trump said something bad. When I make these false claims or when I make these false assumptions in my head, I'm emotionally acting. There's no pattern there. There's no reason. There's no edge. I'm acting upon impulse based on what I want to see happen. And what I want to see happen is what's not going to occur. The market doesn't care about what I'm thinking or what I want to see. If I'm sitting here trying to make money by thinking where the market could move next, I'm just going to sit here and lose money. It's not trading. It is gambling. When you look for similar patterns, that is trading with an edge. This is why I firmly believe when you locate a setup and you can identify it and label it, this is a trade that should be put on. When you don't see a setup, or you can't label that trade, then just sit on your hands and avoid it. And I think the biggest thing that each individual trader has to identify and learn and get self-development through is to know what your setup is. Everybody's gonna define them differently. The only way you can do this is by actually trading and collecting data. So I want you all, after you learn from this video, look back and even tomorrow, the next day, next week, when you're about to take a trade, ask yourself, what is this trade that I am taking? Can I label this setup? Maybe it's a rebid. Maybe it's a reoffer. Maybe it's a large buyer defending price. Maybe it's a rejection of a supply or demand zone. Maybe it's a structural pattern. What is this label of the trade that I am taking? Now, you could even go back if you don't want to forward test this. You could back test this. Look at other trades that you have taken, right? Look at losses, look at wins. I can guarantee you, majority of the losing trades that you take, you're not even going to be able to find a pattern or a common characteristic or similarity that you can go back and basically label it now that you've taken the trade in the past. And I'm very confident if you go back and look at a lot of your winning trades and you dissect that data, you'll be able to realize like, hey, this trade looks so similar to the trade that I took 2 weeks after that. And then you'll be able to identify these labels. Maybe the confirmation was a large delta outlier was supporting the market. And that's a setup that I look for. And I know when I, in the future, see this forming in real time, I know to act upon it because it's something that I've seen work out for me in the past and I can label it. So no label, no trade. Solid label, that's a trading opportunity that you have to act upon. Now this will keep us on our toes. Before you click that buy or sell button, now that you have this in your mind, think about this video and think about if Carmine's sitting next to you watching you trade. And Carmine, before you enter that trade, Carmine's gonna ask you, why are you opening up this position? And if you can't give Carmine a solid answer or a solid reason or label that setup for him or what people call like a playbook, like what is the playbook you're using on this trade? If you cannot provide that for me, acting like I'm sitting next to you before you open up that trade, then just realize you should not be opening up that trade at all. It just keeps me, it keeps you on your toes, and it helps me because sometimes I make dumb decisions. I can't lie. Like sometimes I'll sit here and force a trade just because I'm bored and I want to make money or I want to have action in the markets. And I look back on it and I'm like, Carmine, you should have never taken that damn trade because there's no reason behind it. This is not one of your setups. If I just trade my setups and my setups are being able to have a label, it keeps me on my toes to only be taking trades that I should be taking based on real rationale, a real thesis, and backed by real long-term results. When I deviate away from that, that's when I make emotional, irrational decisions. And that's when I start spiraling down, forcing trades and not acting upon opportunity. Instead, I'm trying to force it and create it. My job is to not create opportunity. My job is just to locate it. And everybody's going to be able to define opportunity differently, but my job is to locate that opportunity, not create it. When we force trades, we try to create an opportunity that just does not exist. When the opportunity is appearing behind us, we are locating it and we are acting upon it. So next time you take a trade, next time you open up your computers, think about me, think about this video, and implement this. I'm very confident you'll see a major difference in your trading in terms of not taking trades that could have been avoided and forcing you to take trades that have a solid thesis that you can label. Now, if you're like, Carmine, how do I find these setups that have to be labeled? This is where dissecting your data, reviewing your charts, reviewing your losses with intention, reviewing your wins with intention, finding common similarities, common denominators between losses, common denominators between wins. The answer lies in your data. Review it, and this is how you'll be able to establish labels, playbooks, setups, and those will be the greatest asset to your trading. Is once you have them, you have something that provides you a solid structure, foundation, system, edge, strategy that will give you long-term success in the markets. So take this advice seriously. If you want to see a difference in your trading, if you like these like raw videos, let me know in the comments. If you're new to my channel, hit the subscribe button. And if you learned anything from this video, drop a like and thumbs up on it. I would really appreciate it. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.